We'll be going over IRS Form 14134, Application for Certificate of Subordination of Federal Tax Lien. So most taxpayers won't be completing this form unless you happen to have a federal tax lien on your back taxes. So the number one question that most people have when the IRS places a tax lien on their record is, how do I get rid of it? And for virtually every single tax case, the number one way to get rid of a federal tax lien is to pay down the outstanding tax balance as soon as possible. Of course, for most taxpayers that are in this situation, that's probably easier said than done. So then the next question is, how can I do something about my federal tax lien? Well, there are a couple of options, right? So you can get your lien discharged, which means that it's removed from a piece of specific property. You can have a lien withdrawn by the IRS if you've met certain criteria. And then the third option is that you can have your federal tax lien subordinated. So what does this mean? Well, subordinating a tax lien means that the IRS, which normally takes a priority position amongst creditors for money that you might owe to more than one entity or person, the IRS usually takes top priority. However, if it's in the best interest of both the taxpayer and the federal government for the IRS to relinquish their placement, in other words, allowing another creditor to take a higher priority, then the IRS may consider it. And the most common way that this would occur is if you are applying for a refinance of your mortgage to get a lower interest rate or to get rid of PMI, private mortgage insurance, in which case you could apply for a certificate of subordination, which would allow that lender to assume a superior position to the IRS. The IRS would consider this because anytime you can lower your mortgage payment, then it makes it more likely that you're going to be able to continue with your current tax payments, particularly if you're already on a tax payment agreement, an installment agreement, a direct debit agreement. Any of those, if you apply for a certificate of subordination because you're trying to refinance an existing loan, then the IRS would probably treat this favorably. So one thing to clarify, subordination does not remove the lien at all. It simply allows other creditors to move ahead of the IRS, which would allow it to it would make it easier for a taxpayer to refinance that loan or that mortgage. So with that said, we'll go through the form. It's a 3-page tax form. It's fairly straightforward, but we'll walk through it step by step. So in section 1, you'll enter the taxpayer information. This can be an individual or a business that's named on the notice of federal tax lien. So you're not coming up with anything different. You're simply putting an individual or business name as it appears on the lien, first, middle, initial, last name if it's an individual. And then if you need a second space, there's a second space there. Primary social security number, if you're a married couple with a spouse filing a joint return, and you can put a secondary social security number on there. If you have an employer identification number or an EIN, you put that in there. And then finish this out with an address, city, state, zip code, telephone number, and fax number. So you should put a telephone number where you can be reached during the business day. If an IRS employee is processing this form and they have a question, you do want the ability to be able to answer the phone quickly and resolve any questions or issues that they might have. Section 2, if you're completing this application on behalf of someone else, then you would put your information in this field, your name, your relationship to the taxpayer, your address, city, state, zip code, telephone number, and fax number. However, if you're the taxpayer and you're submitting your own application, you can simply check this. If you're not the taxpayer, then you would need to attach a copy of the lien that you're trying to get subordinated. And then you'll enter the property owner's information, check if you're also the applicant, and then any relationship to the taxpayer. If you have a representative or a power of attorney, then you would enter that information there, and also keep in mind that you're going to have to attach the power of attorney form, IRS Form 2848, or you can attach a copy of IRS Form 8821, which is the tax information authorization form. So that allows the IRS to give information to that authorized person, but it doesn't necessarily convey any powers of attorney the way the 2848 does. So two different forms, both of them allow that representative to receive information on your behalf. In number 5, you would attach or enter the company name, contact name and number, and then the type of transaction for the lending institution or the financial institution that you're looking to subordinate your loan to. In item 6, you're going to enter the amount of an existing loan if you're refinancing, the amount of new loan, and the amount to be paid to the U.S. government. And then in item 7, you're going to check which box best describes the particular part of the Internal Revenue Code that you would feel most fits your situation. So in Internal Revenue Code, Section 6325D1, this allows the United States the government to receive an amount equal to the lien or interest to which the certificate of subordination is issued. So if you're refinancing and the United States government is expecting to get a decent amount of that paid as part of the refinance, then you would enter that information here, and then you would check this here. So for example, a cash out refinance. If you've got plenty of equity in your home to pay down your debt, let's say you have $300,000 mortgage on a house that's worth $600,000. If you have $300,000 here, your new loan is $450,000. That means, if your outstanding balance is only $50,000, you obviously can put, the entire balance here, and you would effectively pay off your loan. However, you need to submit this form because maybe your bank would not approve the mortgage until the IRS allows the bank to assume a superior position. So you're kind of in this standoff, and the standoff becomes gridlocked until this form is processed. The IRS recognizes that once the bank loan goes through, they're going to get paid, which means they can subordinate it now in order to get the lien completely paid off. In Section D2, you might not completely pay off the balance, but issuing the subordination could still make your tax collection easier. So again, if you are able to refinance and eliminate private mortgage insurance, which most people have to pay on if they have equity less than 20% in their house, if simply just paying that extra couple $100 a month would better benefit the Internal Revenue Service, then you could select D2, attach some sort of a statement that outlines how you'll be better able to pay the government. That would be the other consideration. In item 8, you're simply attaching a description of the property. So is it a rental house? Is it an airplane? What is the property? So, primary residence, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, in here you would enter the address of this real property. If you're looking to refinance a car, then you would list the address where the car is. But this example was a Cessna Twin Engine airplane. So obviously you should probably put something that's significant enough to where subordinating this loan actually makes a big difference. You can attach either an appraisal or a valuation. So an appraisal is a professional appraisal that is completed by someone that is a certified appraiser. You can attach that. It's not required. You can attach a valuation. So this would be the county valuation of the property for tax purposes. You can look that up in county records. If you had a real estate agent that gave you a comparable market analysis known as a CMA that kind of outlines how much your house might be worth, that would probably be acceptable, again, as long as they're a disinterested, impartial third party. If you're selling, if this was a property sold at auction or could be sold at auction and you had a proposed selling price, whatever the justification for the valuation is, go ahead and attach that. And if it's not one of these top 3, then enter in the other category. So for item 10, you're going to either attach a copy of the lien or you'll list the lien number or numbers that you'll find in the top right corner. 11, you'll attach a copy of the proposed loan agreement if you have it. So, the preliminary paperwork that you normally get from your loan officer, you could probably attach that here. For item 12, you'll attach a copy of the current title report. So, it would list the encumbrances, with seniority over the federal tax lien. This should include, any HELOCs, things of that nature. So outstanding loans that are based on that property. Item 13, you're going to attach a copy of the proposed closing statement. HUD-1 is what they used to be called, although I don't believe that they're officially called HUD-1s anymore, but you would attach a copy of that. Any additional information, again, yes or no. That field's pretty self-explanatory. If there's pending litigation, if there's an additional explanation. And then finally, line 15 is the declaration. So, you're signing this under penalty of perjury that you truly believe subordinating this loan is going to be in the best interest of the federal government, as well as your ability to pay off your tax lien. That's all we have for this walkthrough of IRS Form 14134. I should mention one last thing. There is additional information on how to address loan outstanding tax liens. So before you attempt to file this form, it may be worth your while to call the IRS taxpayer advocate or to talk to your tax professional to make sure that this is the proper way to proceed. So if you like our articles, you can actually go to our website, teachmepersonalfinance.com. You can subscribe to our newsletter there. If you want an article specifically walking you through this application, simply type in IRS Form 14134 in the search bar and you should see our article. And again, if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like these instructional videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I will post links to a couple of the other form articles that I mentioned in this video. I'll post them in the comments section. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, as always, please let me know. Thank you very much and have a great day.